Bolo.
All right, believe it or not, this was a highly requested video for me to show you guys how to hook up the newer model MPCs to the newest Phantom model, which is the Phantom EX model that just came out. And even though I did a video showing you guys how to hook up the MPC to the Phantom 06, which is the exact same way, you guys wanted me to show you guys how to do this. And I'm gonna show you how to do it. First things first, what you want to do is make sure everything is turned on, make sure the power is turned on. And then from there, if we go right here into the back of the Phantom, you see these 1/4-inch cables. These are the outputs of the Phantom, okay? Now you can use XLR cables on the Phantom EX models going into the XLR in the back of here, but I have the 1/4-inch cables going from the output of the keyboard going into the input of the MPC X Special Edition. You can do this on any one of the newer MPCs. It all works the same. All right. Now, the output of the MPC, which is these two right here, are feeding into my Manley preamp right here, and that is going into my Apollo. Very simple. Okay. Now, that is for the audio portion. That's so you can hear the sound. Now, to get these two machines talking to each other, I just use a MIDI cable, which is the USB cable right here. So you can use the regular MIDI cables, the old school MIDI cables, but I'm actually using a USB cable, which is like the printer cable. You have that going from the computer out of the keyboard, going into the USB input right here. That simple. That's all you got to do. And that's pretty much all the hookups that you need to get this thing working. Now, the next thing we have to do is very important. What we have to do is on the Phantom EX, we go to Menu, we go to System, and then we go to Sound, which is right here. And then inside of Sound, we turn the local switch off. Okay, if you leave this on and you start playing keys, you're going to start hearing some weird stuff. What you want to do is turn the local switch off. Okay, don't turn it on, turn it off. All right, and then you can actually press right and that will save it. But if you don't want to save it, you just have to make sure to turn this off every single time you turn on the board. All right. All right, next thing we have to do is on the MPC. We're going to go to our menu. We're going to go to Preferences, and then we're going to go to MIDI Sync right here. So MIDI Preferences, MIDI Sync. And as you guys can see on here, if you have it hooked up via USB, it'll say Phantom 678 MIDI in and Phantom 678 MIDI in right here. You want to make sure that this track button is turned on. Just make sure that button is turned on. All right, next thing we're going to do is, now that we're in our main screen right here, we're going to go ahead and select this little MIDI icon right here. See that little MIDI icon right there? We select that. Then we go right here to MIDI port. We select that. And then we select the Phantom right here. That's it. Now, if we did everything correctly, we should be able to hear something. So if we play it, so you can hear it playing. And we have it on MIDI channel 1. Okay, so that's how you set everything up. Now, to change each one of the MIDI channels to hear different sounds, what you have to do is you have to go into zone view. Okay, and what I try to tell people is you want to be in an initialized scene on the actual keyboard. So the initialized scenes usually start around about C, bank C or whatever. But if you're not in an initialized scene, say for instance, you're in a scene and it's not initialized, like right here, this is called FX Skate right here, right? What you can do is you can go to single tone right here. You press that, and then now it's going to initialize the scene for you. And then you can go to zone view from that point. And then now you can see all of your different zones. So right now we're on MIDI channel 1. And as you guys can see, it's on pop piano. Now say for instance, we want to keep that sound, but go to a different sound. So what we do is we go to track 2 right here. We make sure the MIDI is still showing. We change this to the Phantom. We change that to MIDI track 2, okay? And then now what we do is we go into track 2 right here on the board. Oops, track 2 right on the board. We can change this to keys, and then we can actually go in here and change this to like, let's do a bell. So we'll change that to a bell. And then now when we play this, and you can do that for all of your tracks. You have up to 16 tracks to do that. And it is that simple to use the Fantom EX with the MPC. Now, for a little bonus for you guys, if you want to save your sounds within your actual session right here on your MPC, there's another way to do this. What we can do is we can go to track 3, right? We're going to change this to MIDI channel 3. And then what we're going to do is we're going to change the MIDI port to, of course, the Fantom. But then this time, we're going to go to program on. Program on. And as you guys can see, when we turn it on, it says 0, it says off, and it has a bank LSB. What we're going to do is we're going to use the MSB and LSB to control MIDI channel 3. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this to, actually, we're going to change this to 87. This is where it starts at 87. We're going to go to 64. All right. And then on our program change, it says 0, but really it's on 1. So now when we play it, and then if we change this program change right here, let's say we change it to 8, it's going to change the sound. Now, say for instance, we want to go to a different bank. We can go 64, we can go to 65, but keep it on 87. And then let's see what sound we got now. Let's go to bank 66. And then we can change the values over here. We can change the program change. Let's go to 17, 87, 64. And then that's how you use the MSB and LSB banks in here. So that way you can control your sounds inside of the MPC. Now, I know a lot of y'all are thinking, well, how can I find the exact sounds actually using the MSB and LSB values? Well, pretty much online, all you have to do is look up MSB and LSB values for the Fantom, and it will tell you the MSB and LSB numbers that you can punch in there, and it will pull up the exact sound. Now, the only thing is it starts at 0 on the board. So 0 is actually 1. Okay. So if it says MSB 87, LSB 68, and the value is like 7, the value is really 6 when you're using the MPC. Don't know why it's like that, but it's like a number down. But other than that, it's really simple, and then it's dope. Now, I know most people like to use the first method. I like to use this method, even though there is a slight issue with this in song mode. So when you're using this in song mode, you're going to have to convert this into a sequence for it to work correctly. I'm trying to see how to get this fixed with Roland, but that's a way where you can save your sounds in your session when you're working on the MPC. So that's it. That's how to hook up the MPC to the Fantom EX. Very simple.